Taking a look at the Endbad governance protest, the matters arising. Yes, we know the matters arising. People are being arrested for treason, for doing stuff they were not supposed to do. If we could remember, during that particular protest, there were people that were flying foreign countries' flags right here in this country. And the government and the security agencies are taking them up by this. And we are going to be looking at this, as well as take a good look at the protest. Did it actually achieve its desired result? What is the end game? What was the purpose of all this? Should Nigerians be rejoicing that such a protest actually took place? To discuss this matter with me, I have Barrister Charles Mbalisi, President, Law and Power Foundation, and he's also a rights activist. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, let's take a look at the Endbad governance protest. There were so many reactions that trailed this particular protest. Some people folded their arms and said, we are not part of this protest, while the other part of the country was fully into the protest. What do you think was the issue?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. The protest, as a matter of fact, is an integral part of a democratic system. It is a social tool that is being used, employed to air out people's voices, especially on burning issues that is affecting the society either positively or negatively. And in most times, peaceful and organized protests are being mobilized by people that are known. Of course, there's rules of engagement. And when it's being organized, it is expected that they put notices to the government authority. Now, it all depends on what are the marshaled out goals that they want to achieve. How interesting it is, how it interests and affects other persons across the country. The Endbad governance protest has mobilized, was adopted by few individuals who felt that it's high time they make an expression to the government to know that Nigerians are choking. A lot of government policies are choking the people. And of course, there's freedom of association in Nigeria, freedom of association, freedom of integrating assembly. So it's just a matter of choice. As a matter of fact, a lot of people subscribe to that goal that was being marshaled out to be drive to the government to see that masses are having pains, excruciating pains on this policy. So it turned out that some people from some geopolitical locations decided not to subscribe to those goals, as it were. Like it had played out, the Southeast, as a matter of fact, backed out. They came out specifically to say we are not involved. They had their intentions, but not as if they are not interested in the outcome. But they decided not to participate. In the Southwest.
It wasn't only the Southwest.
Yes.
The Southwest.
Even the Southwest.
The protest was majorly in the North.
Yes. Now you begin to ask, there was a lot of reactions in the North. And surprisingly, during the NSAS program, during the NSAS protest, the North didn't participate. The NSAS revolved more on the Southeast and the South-South. So that is to tell you that it's freedom of association. It's freedom. People are free to subscribe to goals that we want that are marshaled out to be dragged, and that makes it beautiful. It's not compelling. That is why it's democratic too.
Okay, as a legal practitioner, to say constitutionally, it is the fundamental right of people to protest. And at what point should a protester be arrested? Because we have seen people being arrested for participating in this particular protest.
Thank you very much. Section 40 of Nigerian Constitution has already made provision for freedom of association. In other words, the import of that section is that Nigerians are free to associate, to assemble, to drive common goals, to even form political parties or even trade union. That means it is guaranteed that people can gather, form out a common goal, voice it out, and the government ought to listen to them. Section 36(1) talk about fair hearing, talk about freedom of expression. You must talk. These are not only laws that guide Nigeria, it is an international law. The African Charter of Human Rights, the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, all made provision for freedom of association, freedom of expression. So, in as much as these freedoms are there, the protesters have the duty to ensure that during any organized protest, there is no disruption of peace, no disruption of infrastructures. Whereas the government have the duty to ensure that protesters' lives are protected, that there is no undue interference on the aims and purpose of such protests. So the ways, the balances, the checks and balances are there already. So any attempts to breach this fundamentally right provided for in the government, in the constitution, is seen to be a militarized approach.
Okay, so are you saying this arrest, these people that are being arrested, is a breach of fundamental?
Very, very well. No approach to intimidate or harass protesters.
But in your earlier submission,
yes,
you said in carrying out a protest,
yes,
protesters should ensure that there's no disruption of peace, there's no destruction of property.
yes.
And in a situation whereby there was destruction of property, there was indeed disruption of peace, and then we also had a situation where people were actually flying foreign flags. What does the law say about that?
Yeah, very outrightly flying other nations' flags contravenes the law in a democratic protest. It is it all depends on tracking the people that were involved. Were they the people that organized the protest, or are they criminal elements who infiltrated the protest? There must be difference.
Okay, so if you
because
not organize
because if you organize the protest, like the Endbad governance protest, the government interacted with their leaders. They interacted with their lawyers, so they cannot say they don't know the people. The time frame was given. Goals were marshaled out that the government should ensure that you meet up this protest. I mean, this goes before 1st of August. If you don't, we embark on protest. So it was an organized, peaceful protest. There was no intention to disrupt any government policy or public peace. There was no intention. So as a matter of fact, I cannot stand to tell you that the organizers of the protests of Endbad governance, we are responsible to the disruption that was experienced across the country.
No, they were not.